Alrighty, we're going to pick up from where we just left off in the last video. And the only thing that I've done to kind of reset this is to bring up all the pictures, take the other one off, the one that had like the cool little masking kind of thing, and put all these back in there. So my plan is to use this one as the main background in here. You could choose to do something similar or do something different altogether, or just add kind of like the framing that I did previously. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that we did last time, which was select, then the subject, then I'm going to mask it out, click on that little button, and then that's pretty much where I want it, right? And still, I'm going to bring up the back just like I did last time, is bring it up just like this and add a little bit of that fade in the back. Okay, pretty simple. All right, in Illustrator, I have this little box that I have made right here. You can't hardly see it, or you can't see it because it's the same color as the background. And I made the background gray so you can see the white box in front of it. All right, so I'm gonna move that off to the side, the whole Illustrator off to the side. And I'm going to move the white box over into Photoshop. So I'm just gonna click and drag and bring it over this way. All right. So I have brought this way, and now it's here. I'm going to make it go up one layer. I hit Command and then the brackets, so I could actually move that up and down. The same square brackets that make your brush bigger or smaller by themselves. If you hit Command up and down, or not Command, but say Command left square bracket, and then the other one to make it go up. So I'm going to have it go up once, and I'm going to bring up the first picture, which is this one here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the box using W. Not that one. We're going to select the one that, make sure that it's on this magic wand tool. So your Photoshop may default like mine just did and not give you what you're looking for. So now that I hit W, it should be back on that one. So the marching ants are actually marching around on this one. And I've just disabled the white box, so I'm just using it as my selector for now. And then now I have this little box of marching ants that I could actually move up to where I want it to. And I'm going to find an interesting composition in that photo that I'm about to mask out. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and mask that. All right. And then with that, I'm going to move that one up just a tiny bit and say put it right there for now. All right, just leave that there. I'm going to do the same thing for the next picture. So I'm going to bring up the next picture, bring up the Command closed square bracket to bring it up. I'm going to hit, notice that there's something marching in the background. I don't know if you can see it back there. So I'm going to hit Command D to make those stop. And then I'm going to hit this one here so I can select the box, hide the box so it's out of the way, move this selector box that I just had, the little marching ants, around the new composition. I'm going to probably move this up this way, maybe not. So I'm going to put it back here, maybe where his foot is right in the box. What I don't kind of like is this arm right here, but that's just for this example. So now with that picture selected, I'm going to hit mask again. All right, so now I have two boxes, and then I can hit Command T, V to kind of move it down just a tiny bit. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to bring up the box one more time, enable it so I can see it, enable the last picture that I want, select the white box again, marching ants, hide the white box, and we're leaving it there for a purpose, but I'm going to move the bounding box over, an interesting composition here with this last picture, and then mask that. All right. So now I have these three boxes that I have created using this white box as my selector. What I'm going to do now is Control T this one so I can transform it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and then leave it there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it behind the picture, and now I'm going to adjust it. Okay, so just a tiny bit right about there. All right. So now that I have that selected, I'm going to hit V to move things around. And I'm going to hit Option so I can make another box that's the exact same size, and then move it back down one or two. And then now you can see that it's going to be behind that picture. And then again with V selected as the key, I'm just hitting the key V the letter V, and then I'm hitting Option on my computer, and you'll see that the mouse, the little cursor changes to like a black and white cursor. That means that it's about to do it. So I'm duplicating that. So I'm gonna bring it over one more time, over to that one, and then the box that I just created, I'm gonna move it down so it's behind that other picture. All right, and then I'm hitting Control T so I can see exactly where the bounding box is at, and I'm using my arrows to kind of like just fine tune it. All right, so now that we have those all created, I don't want these rectangles to be like perfectly across. What I want to do is I want to adjust them. So say this top one, which is going to be this image and the white box around it, I'm going to twist them. So select both of them like this and hit Command T, and I'm going to rotate it just a little bit like that. I'll put that one there and hit return once it's done. Maybe the middle one, which should be this one and that one right there, those two boxes, I'm going to bring them just a tiny bit down and rotate it just a smidge this way, the opposite direction. And the last one, I'm going to rotate it back the other way. Like this. These almost look like they're baseball cards or something like that. All right. Now I know that right now it's really covering up this guy's arm back here, but I'm not too concerned about that just yet. Okay. So I'm focusing on these boxes for now because that's what the tutorial is all about. For this first box, which should be the top one up here, I want to double click this area. I don't want you to double click this square right here. I don't want you to double click the name because you'll rename it like this. I want you to double click the gray area next to that. You're going to go down to the bottom. Now your Photoshop may only have one drop shadow. I've kept multiple drop shadows along the way because I've hit this plus button here. So I'm just going to click the first one, see what it does. Now that first one for me makes a really ugly kind of like brown color. I don't want that one. So I'm going to hit maybe like the bottom one, which doesn't do anything. Here's one that's a little bit closer to what I want. There's the one that I'm looking for. So again, you may not have all of these drop shadows. It's just kept it. I think Photoshop started doing that not too long ago, where before it was only always one drop shadow and it would reset every time you use a new file. But recently they've kept this on there. Now what I want to do is, remember, it's all in the subtlety. So I want to drop this just a tiny bit and then you have that. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm happy with that. But instead of having to do that every single time that you create a new drop shadow, you can just right click on that layer and go down to the bottom here where it says copy layer style, and you're going to paste that layer style down over here, paste layer style just like this. You'll see that that second one now has it, and then lastly paste layer style on that top one there, and now that one has it. The last thing I want to try to do is I'm going to bring this layer of this guy, I'm going to move him around just a tiny bit. Again, this is just for the example, so your project may vary just slightly. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, like this, and I'm going to bring where his arm is kind of going behind this a little bit, but I'm going to do that on purpose, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that next. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that layer, and now I have two of them, and I'm going to move the one that I just duplicated all the way to the top. And in order to bring it all the way to the top, what I'm doing is hitting Command Shift bracket, and it either goes to the opening close bracket all the way to the bottom, or Command Shift close bracket all the way to the top, just like that. I'm going to leave it at the top. The other one is still at the bottom, so it's almost like a sandwich. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask part of this so it looks like it goes between these two frames. Right, so I'm going to bring this up like this, just oops, wrong direction. So hit that X, it goes the other way, and I'm going to make the brush just a tiny bit smaller, and it's going to go behind this image but above this other one right here. All right, so I think that's pretty cool. And then I'm going to go back because I don't want the shadow to go around this, that little glow that it had before, that when we brought up the back. So I'm going to hit select and then subject one more time. So now the subject is selected again. I'm going to invert it, so Command Shift I, and then hit that mask layer, and back here I'm going to take this off right here. Okay, so what that does, it's only going to have the hand, his arm, that is coming up over this, and little subtleties like this make a big difference in design and like kind of like layout kind of stuff. So I think this is where I'm going to stop. Your design may have just one box, like one of these Polaroids, and your design may have 6 of them. So I just wanted to show you how to add the drop shadow to it, how to add the box from Illustrator. It could be a different shape if you like, and how you can start combining some of these techniques to create interesting pages like this. Okay, so I hope that this helps you.